Hi there, welcome to Carcassonne. It's again Champions League, of course. We will start with Borberichi versus Wahei. Borberichi won the Catalan qualifier, that is day one of their league. If I remember correctly, an 8-round Swiss tourney. And Wahei, I don't know how they qualified. I think they won the Japanese online qualifier. No matter how, they definitely are a strong player. Only a few points shy of an 800 ELO top rating, usually rated around 700, maybe 650 or so. So definitely the favorite today versus Borberichi with a top rating below 600. In fact, Borberici's rating last year, top rating last year was a 529, and that's by far the worst top rating of all Champions League qualificants. I think the next worst top rating was 590. This should have been Boulogne from France. Yeah, so wahei definitely the favorite, and if I'm honest with you, I definitely don't mind a rather quick match, because if you look at the schedule here, there are still 3 more matches today, and especially the next one. I'm jumping at the bits. This will be a great one too. Highly respected masters facing against each other, but I would like a quick break in between this and the second one. So even if it's only 10 minutes, please, dear players, take care of it. These two playing tournament style, so 15 minutes on both clocks, and let's have at it. Both going for restrictions, both trying to delay city completions. Yeah, looks pretty nice. Hi, Tamrak. By the way, lowercase y. Yeah, I'm special. I need the lowercase y. Yeah, of course. An upset is always possible. I mean, Borberichi, if I remember correctly, real name Dani, was able, if my mind serves me well, to even win all their matches in the first league day of the Catalan league. So there are quite a few strong players there. So their top rating might not be indicative of their actual, let's say, skill ceiling, but we'll see. So let me focus on the game here. Here, yellow scored a few cities, also the road. Takes care of the field, which I like, because for sure this could at least expand to the left. Has a lot of potential to the right side as well. There is a loop road waiting to be claimed. In some cases, this might add an additional or even 2 additional caps to your field. So why not take this one? There's also a sinister hamster already in place. And blue opted to claim 2 points, which they could have done in the middle, while also unifying these city parts here. But then they'd risk yellow immediately attacking this unified city. And as it's already worth, or as it would have been worth 8 points, yellow quite likely would have done so. So this move here is keeping the volatility rather low, not risking losing a big feature. So a rather cautious play by blue, which at least from what I gathered from their games is usually their style. So yellow might just claim this loop. Could also go for on this one here, trying to restrict the monastery a bit and maybe being able to harass the road. Yeah, they prefer this. It also has implications to their field because this here keeps the field rather small, whereas turning the curve to the left would have potentially open up the field all the way to Blue's monastery. Yeah, we'll see how this will turn out for yellow, especially now that blue was able to close their road, and therefore this one here is under threat. Sure, still two of the right-handed daggers left, only the one gone here. But a restriction would be rather annoying. Good news for yellow, though. 3 of the cows are already gone, so it's rather unlikely that blue would use something to block over here, especially now that their city up top is under threat. Excuse me for a second. So yellow just takes a few points at the bottom next to blue's monastery. Of course, you do. There weren't a lot of options anyway. Blue goes for the top city. This one here sure was a good idea, else the city could have been killed over here. And yellow immediately attacks because they sure don't like blue closing the gap on the scoreboard with a simple 12-pointer there. And they get an immediate connecting piece. Yeah, this is a nice idea. Nice way to restrict yellow's road. Especially because this one restricting this square with only 2 curves left increases the value of this square for blue, because yellow for sure has to consider which of these 2 options they'd place a road monastery. As long as they have enough meeples in hand, of course, they'd use the 9-point spot. But if they desperately need a meeple back, they might instead opt for this one. But actually, no, that would be wrong. Because if you place a meeple here to get a meeple back, you could just as well place a meeple there and get it back immediately. Yellow tries to play against Blue City here and has now to decide whether it's worth adding this Dorito there. Still giving you a chance to kill the square, but also there's still a splitter in the deck. And wahei has two choices now. Defend and hope for the 50-50 with the splitter to gain 5 points later, in case you don't get killed there, or kiss this meeple goodbye, but score 4 points immediately. Yeah, I'm quite obviously not as lucid as usually. This here, of course, prevents the kill. And the road monastery goes to yellow, increasing their scoreboard lead to 14 points. 14 points, yeah. But 12 of these 14 points are the result of this so far uncontested field. And there is an easy attack available for blue. Problem for blue being they only have the one meeple in hand, so they desperately need something for this square to get at least one monk back. And then this attack here would be quite likely their next step. Of course, the splitter is critical for them as well. Depending on when it hits. If it hits for them, they might even consider claiming the field immediately. Borberichi can't really do a lot with this cow right now, pressuring this square here, going for a block, which would indeed be a block because there are no left-handed daggers in the deck. Would be at least one idea to add some value to their position. Not sure this orientation is the better choice, but it would indicate that they rather use straights over here to take away this attacking option. I'm not sure it's worth it though. Yeah, rather nice limitation by yellow. They could have gone the other way as well. Ukraining the monasteries, but in that case, there would have been 4 pieces left to get this monk back, but of the 4, 1 was needed by blue up top. And 1 was a vanilla cap, and a vanilla cap on an opponent's possible 8-point city is definitely not a great idea. So I would have liked the other orientation a tad more. But we'll see how this will turn out for yellow. For now, they take away this field attack, and then blue might need to resort to a ninja attack here, or possibly even a wonkier approach up top. Ninja over here on the right side would be the better choice in most cases. But there are still 2 crossroads left, so definitely not ideal for now. Blue indirectly grows their side of the now ruin, figuring out whether they should connect now or wait for a Dorito and take 2 points, while also preventing an easy closure of yellow's extender city at the bottom. And the problem with this one being that this would create options to attack the city no matter the orientation, because there are still 2 right-handed daggers left over here. So keeping Borberichi's meeple count under control by taking the 2 points at the bottom seems to be the logical choice here. Meanwhile, where did the last curve go? Oh, Borberichi took it and placed it where exactly? Next to the monastery? Looks like it. But that actually would have been a mistake, because they could have increased their road and given themselves a chance to liberate this road meeple with 1 piece. While there are still a lot of straights out there to liberate the monk as well. Yeah, so that's correct, and I don't see why it wouldn't be, because I don't see where they could have added the curve if not here. Then yeah, I'd consider this one a mistake, which might cost them dearly in the end. Because this square is dead, and they could have used the road monastery as road end, also adding another city to their field and claiming this monastery for 4 points. So it would have been an 8-point move. Not changing the meeple count at all, because adding this one, but liberating the highwayman. Yeah. We'll see. Now they are down 5 points, even though the 12-point field still is in their possession. And this one here actually created a great chance to attack the field with any city plus field tile. Blue could go here, and there are still 3 regular straights left to connect. And there's only 1 cap left to claim the city, and even if yellow would take it, this would create another option. Art blue goes for immediate points, claiming that is 5 point at this point in time ruin, giving themselves the aforementioned 3 straights to claim a 4-point road while getting the meeple on the monastery back, which looks totally fine given their lead on the virtual scoreboard. They don't need to go for the field and risk being stranded over here with 0 points, because in some permutations, yellow would claim all 3 straights. Yeah, so this city is still alive, even though only barely, because there aren't that many caps left, 3 exactly, and 3 is the number yellow needs. Blue with only 1 meeple in hand might even opt to close this city, adding another 3 points to their farmer, giving themselves a second meeple back, which is worth more than yellow's third meeple. But of course, there are also chances then for yellow to attack this, which would be profitable for them, considering this then would be a 9-point field. Attack up top works in some cases as well, but only in a few actually. This could be easily restricted from the left side. Yeah, and again, the cautious move by blue, just adding the cap to their field. There are still rows and the remaining dagger left to claim these 7 points. And Borberichi now has to decide whether they want to go for the city. And they do, but in a way that's wrong. Okay. Because this here was blockable with all tiles in the deck. But blue doesn't care, risking that Borberichi would draw the rose, and blue couldn't do anything with the straight against yellow getting the dagger as well. Whereas straight over here, no, it wouldn't have killed this as well, because then the tiles vice versa would work for yellow. Okay, so then blue's move was correct, and they get the rose, will claim 6 points up top. There's no road end left, so giving the 1 point to yellow's highway meeple really isn't a problem. They could also claim these 4 points, but in this case, it doesn't matter. Even if yellow were to get the dagger, these 4 points wouldn't do anything for their win percentage. It's at 0, and this won't change, or would not change. So, first game in wahei's back as expected. And we'll see whether Borberichi manages to come back and force the decider in the second one. Yeah, the 2 points here. I'd highlight again this curve, which yellow could have used over here. And of course, the crucial splitter draw for blue, which more or less won them the game. Not that they didn't find good moves before and after this one, but the impact of scoring these 5 points plus at least the 6-point field. Now it's a 9-point field. 12 points even. So this splitter alone plus everything that came here afterwards basically took care of giving them a, if that's correct, 19-point win. 17 points it is. Yeah, the 2 points of yellow's last move weren't considered. Yeah, a rather surgical game by blue here. At least I didn't see any move by them I didn't like. Even this straight here, which I was originally suspecting wasn't the best move, indeed was, because I could have restricted this square to 1 cap, but then if yellow hits this, the left end would have been completely uncontested. By adding the straight here, they at least gave themselves a chance to contest at least one end of yellow's city if yellow would have hit one of the 2 remaining caps. So definitely okay. Let's quickly take a look, as long as these 2 haven't started the second one, and look for Borberichi's curve move. Yeah, here we go. As suspected. Sure, trying to get the monastery meeple, definitely a good idea. But why not try to liberate this one? Chances for blue to close the monastery once you've added basically any road end there weren't great, especially with the curves gone. So something like this would have restricted this monastery to the remaining road monastery. And the road monastery itself would have been a 50-50 restriction as well, due to no monastery being left afterwards and only 1 vanilla. So yeah, still not liking this one, especially because yellow at this point in time was still in the lead. So next one. Ideal start for blue, claiming a city here. Not ideal, but good start. Ideally, you draw a shielded extender, of course. And the next one as well, plus another extender, and then twin caps, right? Both claiming early points. No. why don't you score 3 points instead of hoping for more? I don't get this. Let's refresh. Yeah, I mean, sure, yellow placed the meeple here, which is understandable. Um, Not necessary though. Well, they could have claimed this road earlier because although many Japanese players would claim this cap early on, not caring whether this one here would be restricted or not, knowing full well that most restrictions wouldn't be better than, I don't know, 1 in 4, 1 in 8. So yeah, but this one here has dumped the cap to the bottom, to the top. Yeah, the cow was already in place, so cap to the bottom doesn't really matter. If blue claims this with a Dorito or from the right side, quite likely you'd get an option to attack the city anyway. So I'd rather take 3 points in hand than possibly more later. Yeah, first instinct, always close the road, but if there is a road end next to it, you don't really need to. You could wait for curves, but the problem in this case was, sure, you'd like to harass yellow, take away their loop option, score these 2 points, but you'd rather not give them a shielded city to start, and also possibly implicate your road end there. So again, a rather cautious move by wahei. Blue dumps this straight here, reduces the value of this monastery square, at least for regular monasteries. With the road monastery, it's vice versa. This here rather improves the value because you're not restricted to the starting tile, and in a case where there's only one starting tile left, it's definitely pretty nice for yellow here. So can't complain about their draws so far. Yeah, this is okay as well, of course. This square sure is a tad iffy, but there are still a lot of curves left. And having the upside of possibly being able to claim a city up top could be worth it. Other options really weren't better. So going over here, then, excuse me, and then building around it, not ideal as well. If you have the meeples, just claim the highest scoring spot. If it has this city for additional upside. It's totally fine. Yeah, but now blue is pressuring this here, and 2 horses are gone. So any curve from the right side would restrict the monastery to 50-50, and in that case, I don't see a reason not to claim this road and limit this to a dagger. Chance would have been 7 and 8 to get it and claim this road, or maybe the city once it hits. But now I think the sensible approach for blue should be to restrict this one here. There's no shield there. Sure, if yellow hits this one, it would be annoying, but they could only claim either this 3-point road or the possible 5-point road or the city. And I'm pretty sure yellow wouldn't claim this road beforehand unless they'd be in a rather desperate mood. Yeah, and again, blue takes their time, thinks about all implications. In the end, they chose this. Yeah, Borberici's time management seems to follow blue's approach, taking their time, checking, and in the end, we'll see what they'll do. I know what I would do, and that's exactly this one here. The problem, of course, being you have to decide which feature to claim. Yeah, leaving the cap empty is annoying, but at least if your opponent gets a cap, you score 1 point as well. Yeah, way better than a curve is, of course, a road monastery here. Also preparing a 4-point road, which they should take, even if it creates this 9-point field. But this 9-point field doesn't have a lot of points to score it or to take it right now. It's rather likely that blue wouldn't hit a tile to claim it immediately. And if so, at least, quite likely they choose this spot instead of helping the monasteries, of course, which in some cases would endanger their city, but maybe yellows as well. Likely yellows as well. Well, definitely yellows as well. So it's not way out there to just claim this field now, but a limitation quite annoying. Also endangering this city square when there are only 2 daggers left. One is here. Wasn't ideal as well. So blue claims this field now, restricts yellow's city, and that exactly is the problem of not adding the twin caps there. Now you have a city that's restricted on 2 sides, 2 roads, and no matter which square you fill first, another limitation would be rather likely. And if you help your opponent kill your city, well, I'm sorry, but then, oh, interesting choice by blue. I mean, That would be totally okay, killing this immediately. Not that they need to, because again, if yellow fills one of these squares, the other one would be vulnerable or susceptible to an attack. Another precise move by blue, taking away the splitter option here from yellow, because blue would use very likely the splitter up top. Yeah, I thought so, but I don't like it. Sure, this monastery controls these two by yellow, but it gives exactly the option away that yellow chose an immediate attack off the field, and not just a field attack, but also a city harassment. And I don't doubt that yellow will execute this move now. Sure, possibly a huge ruin for blue if they hit one of the two remaining cows. Okay, but yeah, sure. It's way more valuable. This is a feature that's way more valuable. So take care of this one first, especially because blue can only close this one with a splitter. Yeah, nice restriction of the city. Killing by gifting, always beautiful. So to elaborate a tad more, blue of course would have liked to do rituals there, and now whatever they'd do here, yellow would at least have one chance to restrict or attack the city. So blue can't save this one without yellow having at least one shot at it. And they quite likely will do so now. But there is a second option available. On the other hand, once someone were to connect with the Dorito, they'd open up the 50-50 for the remaining cow. Yeah, Borberichi wasting time. This was a no-brainer. But with still 2 minutes more on the clock and 8 minutes for 11 moves, that's not a big issue. And definitely better to take 3 or 5 seconds for a no-brainer than misclicking because you'd like to save even the last second here. Whoa. Gutsy move by yellow with all these caps and Dorito still out there, giving blue both options. So road plus city pieces and field plus city pieces. Yellow, of course, doesn't attack the city, but get the precious meeple back plus additional 4 points. Yeah, now blue threatens to close the city up top. Yellow goes for it, which I'm not a fan actually. This one here more or less is the same configuration, but it's worth way more. On the other hand, blue only has the one meeple in hand, so they might not even go for this, but try to close their city at the bottom, which is in fact what they chose to do, and giving them no chance to get a meeple from this city back. Or no chance is wrong, only the one chance, the splitter. Isn't the worst approach for sure. Yeah, tough luck for blue. Yellow gets exactly their piece to kill a square. And this was the only one. So last dagger used to restrict the city 2. Exactly this dagger is then, of course, always a kill. Yellow takes away the best chance to attack this city, but there is still one left, which is the remaining right-handed dagger plus the remaining Road Dorito. And at minus 13, blue might need to go for this later, but they decide for now, of course, to claim a 7-point monastery. They could even get their meeple back. They have to decide whether to go for it. Maybe even claim the field, but I wouldn't. I'd rather keep the meeple in hand because there's this cap here. Or this cap goes to yellow if they want to claim it. They could also go for the city, and they are guaranteed to connect. No, they aren't. There are still 3 connection pieces left, about 5 moves. But now that wahei drew one of the caps, yellow is guaranteed to get a connection piece, but they might draw the vanilla beforehand. So blue could have closed this one, hoping to prevent exactly this here. Sure, it wouldn't have worked. Which then begs the question whether blue should have used their curve to protect the city. And the answer quite likely is no, because they were so far behind that they quite likely saw this option and hoped to be able to claim it themselves. Didn't work out, and therefore Borberichi wins this one and forces the decider, which is of course nice for us. And we still have 40 minutes to go until Alexei and Pose face each other. So I might still be able to grab something to eat beforehand. Let's test something here. So this is a new tool, some stats of the game. So the distribution of tiles, big cities. Borberichi drew 5 of them, but the more interesting are the caps. So in Borberichi's favor, and the roads, which usually aren't that great. So 11 to 6 roads for wahei explains at least something. Yeah, so let's take a look back at the curve situation, because I think they need a few seconds to start the third game. And quite likely, if I remember correctly, wahei was behind by 10, 12 points or something like that. So yeah, even in this situation, he could have restricted this connection square. But why would he? He'd rather hope to draw the splitter. So let's skip a few moves forward. And let's refresh. Don't want to lose out on the first moves there. So this is the situation. Yeah, wahei is down -9. And what else is there then to go for this one? On the other hand, all pieces would allow yellow to protect the city or attack it, of course. Yeah, so I think going for the curve here, hoping that your opponent blunders and you might be able to attack this, was fine. Or they attack and can't connect, and then you are down still 9. But if you claim this one, the field, you could just outscore them. So curve sounds fine. The chosen position of the curve sounds fine. Okay, we missed 2 moves. 4 moves even, not that big of a deal. The Catalan claimed this city and claims the field now, both with road moves. Blue starts a new city away from this field's action, but also giving them a chance to later restrict the road connection. Nice look claimed. Crossroad is a tad tricky after the squad city. Yeah, 2 starting tiles are gone, so you could consider this one. Possibly giving a road end, but on the other hand, the restriction of the starting tile could play out there then, and which isn't or wouldn't have been that problematic if you just connect the roads then later. So this here without the farmer, I definitely wouldn't like, because it's more likely that your opponent connects than that you might be able to split the roads. With the farmer, I get it. So field attack with tempo, hoping to get a curve and then unify the fields. Interesting choice by Borberichi to go for this city instead of splitting Blue's small city and adding another farmer. Quite likely due to their other city in the vicinity, which is, of course, always problematic. Again, this diagonal formation is usually annoying. But now Borberichi can extricate this meeple as well, so they don't, which I don't like at all. Sure, it's a valuable city, but if this here gets blocked, you lose a mini battle by 7 points. And you just used one of the tiles to liberate this city. But of course, there are still 7 triple cities to close this and take a rather significant lead. And the problem for blue is the best chance to restrict, kill the square would be adding something with a city part. But then you'd either add on a meeple of your own and risk losing this, or you don't, and then it's more likely that yellow would be able to secure, save at least 3 options to close the city. They didn't need to. They got a horse with a shield immediately and have now a commanding 17-point lead. But with this field in the middle already being at 12 and in a few seconds 15 points, I have no doubt that blue will fight for this field and will try to claim it in the end. And for now, it looks like their best chance to still win this one. So next farming attacks will be incoming. Rather sooner than later. Now yellow might just add this over here, maybe even go for this option to threaten the health of blue city at the bottom a tad more, forcing it into the Dorito. On the other hand, it's a shielded Dorito and you don't really like to waste these. So they just start a new city on the left. Wahei, of course, takes care of the most vulnerable square of their city at the bottom. Might now simply unite the fields. Yellow also decreased this this field connection square on the left. Okay, blue goes for the more efficient route, claiming a loop road up top. Not claiming this road because they only have the one meeple in hand, and that to me, even with the last meeple, is too cautious. Sure, these two could be entangled with a triple city tile. You need a crossroad to get this here liberated. You would need to add something to yellow city to get your monk back, but leaving this road for your opponent to take 4 points surely can't be the best move in this case. If you don't go there, well, then at least connect. What? No. There will be other options to attack the field. Just claim the 4 points now. Oh. Because there's this one here. Killing this square, crawling around the cities for blue, and what has yellow's farmer gained in that case? Well, 3 points. Just great, right? Yeah, and now they can't even claim this road without endangering this square. Boy, oh boy, this was a situation to think about a few seconds. And yellow obviously didn't. Could be crucial turning point in this game. So they opt to just connect the fields now, taking away 6 points from blue. In the process, extending the lead to right now 12 points. But now we are at 15 for the main field, possibly 18 later. Again, yellow doesn't close their city, rather tries to hunt blue city down. But there are 2 left-handed daggers left, so the usual restriction of pointing the curve into the city wouldn't be a kill. Yeah, I think. Whoa. Again, not claiming the road, instead going for the double field attack approach. I don't like this at all. Let me count the meeples. Yeah, both have 6 on the field, so it's not that there's the BGA bug with an invisible meeple over here, for example. Yeah, so basically blue could have gotten 4, could have gone for another 4, would have created another field attacking approach option, and this even with a meeple majority, which they don't have now. Yeah, will yellow do something about this now? They do, restricting this to the 2 remaining daggers. They could have taken this approach, considering that I thought I saw the third. Yeah, all 3 twin caps are gone. And there's only 1 extender left. So the most likeliest outcome of a situation like that would have been blue waiting a long time for the extender, or just adding a cow there, because no matter if you use the extender or the cow here, your opponent would have at least 1 chance to attack the city after the move. This here gives blue the clear and so far uncontested option to just draw 1 of the remaining daggers to close the city, and not just close the city, but snatch a 9-point field as well. So yellow has to take care of this one. They have to kill this. Else they more or less would bet their game on a 25% shot. So blue quite likely will protect in this connection. If they had a better chance to get a meeple back, doubling down on the field attack might be also at least an idea. But of course, they only have the one and basically only crossroads and daggers to get a meeple back, because they'd rather not use a cap to do yellow's job for yellow, closing the city here. Blue might consider this once they have secured field though. For now, I would expect them to claim 3 points and restrict yellow city. Even though it would surely be nice to get this second meeple back in hand. But the risk of yellow closing this one here was just too severe. Yeah, yellow doesn't play against this. Rather extends their road by 1 point, which doesn't do a lot for the winning chance. And a straight here would be, this point in time, more or less ideal. Lowest city part might be better. Yeah, nice move by blue. Further complicating yellow city here. So basically, this will end up as a ruin, whereas this here still has a chance. Although I would suspect that blue might just take away easy options from yellow. There's no splitter left. So yellow would need either a Dorito and then the 2 caps they'd need now to close the city, or add a cow there and then need, well, because there's only 1 Dorito left, even 3 caps. So yeah, this sounds definitely okay, but might be even better. Yeah, it's definitely is better over here. Any road would immediately kill this. And I haven't said anything about a blue meeple because there definitely shouldn't be a blue meeple on this. Also, going over here would ever so slightly protect your city as well. I don't see a need to restrict this more than it's already is. Yeah. Again, I mean, this here wouldn't have been dead if yellow added a straight there, because blue would have used this horse, this cow to indirectly protect by going over here. But if you don't give yourself the chance to kill this, well, you risk your opponent drawing one of these still 2 remaining daggers eventually. And I mean, the city is at 7, so closing this one is 9 points. 9 points for the field on top. So we are speaking about an 80-point swing versus gaining 2 shoddy points for your road. Okay, taking away the quadruple crossroad from blue. I'm sorry, but no, I'm not sorry. Don't like this, not at all. And it risks a perfectly healthy game for yellow. So meanwhile, blue was able to claim the lead on the main field. But they still need a dagger, and here's the dagger. Finally, easy 18 points, taking the lead. Sure, road left for anyone to claim, but this doesn't really matter. This city, by the way, is dead. This is barely alive, but doesn't really make any sense to go for it. Looks to me more like yellow should try to attack the field again. They could go over here. Still 2 curves left, plus crossroads. Problem being, even if they manage to attack the still 15-point field, blue quite likely would outscore them unless yellow gets the city closed. So especially crucial are the remaining starting tile and left-handed dagger, but I would expect blue to kill this square here if they get a chance. Another option for yellow, if they don't want to attack the field now, would be to claim 3 points at the bottom. Cool. 4 points at the top, of course, even though they take away this here. No, they wouldn't. There are still cows left to attack here. And it's almost unblockable, except for the remaining cow. So maybe that's not the worst idea. They still have this city, but the city doesn't score for them anymore. Sure, 3 points for yellow if closed, but 3 points to the field, 1 point to the monastery. So this would be a -1 point move. But if they manage to share the field, might be worth it. Oh, by the way, this isn't dead even. There is still one option left to close this. And in some cases, blue gets the monastery or the quadruple crossroad and can't even kill this. But of course, it's rather unlikely that yellow would draw all these 3 tiles also in an order that works without blue being able to interfere. So yeah, to me it looks like just claiming these immediate 4 points would be the move. The city is at 5 points now. So if closed, it would be worth 14. That's +9. These 9 points don't really do that much for you. Whereas this swing here really is problematic, because now the best option to attack the field is gone. There's another one at the bottom due to the road monastery. And there's even an outside option to attack here. Oh, sorry, wrong click. But the outside chance hinges on rather specific draws. So depending on the remaining tiles, yellow might need to go here. But they go for the city. And luckily for them, blue drew one of the pieces, which doesn't allow them to restrict the city. But blue is at +7. The city is worth 6 if closed 14, so that's 8 points, possibly 11 if yellow drops a farmer immediately. So it's not a guaranteed win if yellow hits the remaining city cap. And blue could just claim 5 points now. The problem for blue, of course, is that claiming these 5 points maybe improves the chances for yellow to attack the field. And that's quite likely why they claimed these 3. Problem, though, is that yellow can now claim another 2 points or even 6 up top. They are down 10. They have to hope for blue to draw the crossroad, because blue would kill the square with everything else. And then yellow would need to get the starting tile. If they don't, they have to find other ways to score points, because the 1 in 12 chance to hit for blue to hit the crossroad and yellow to get the starting tile, definitely not good enough. So it's actually a shame that there's no straight left, else yellow could attack over here. They have 2 moves still to go. Yeah, tricky endgame. And both are down below 2 minutes on the clock. Well then, adding this here to create an option to attack the field doesn't work. Oh, it does. It does in exactly this case, because then blue can't claim this one. So yellow will attack this now. Hope to draw the curve to claim 15 points. The problem, though, is blue will claim 5. And then this game will end up in a tie. And the tie goes to the second player. But we don't or won't even see the tie, because blue just outdraws yellow. Yeah, looks like 5 points anyway. But if this is correct, and at this point it should be, yellow would have even lost if tiles were reversed. Yep. Okay, folks, I'll keep it short. Yeah, so close, but still not enough. I'll keep it short because I like to eat a quick bite before I see you on the next stream for Alexi versus Posey. So thanks for tuning in. Bye.